rat races, and an attack of an aggressive squirrel, a cat robber, and a dog waiting for attention, raccoons sorting things out, and an unlucky attempt to play golf. In this episode, you'll see 1 in a million moments with animals. Well, before we move on to video cases, I suggest that you take a look at one extremely curious photo that I found on the web. According to its author, while walking along a slope, he and his friends met a wild lion. The animal was not indifferent to people, but it was not in a hurry to attack them either. Instead, the lion preferred to crawl away carefully and almost fell off the cliff. Fortunately for the animal, the man you see on the photo was not afraid. He ran up to the cliff and he saved the king of beasts. It's hard to believe, but it could very well be true. The shot has been repeatedly checked for Photoshop and no trace of it was found. What are you prepared to do to get attention? Children, for example, may shout, scandalize, whereas older people may do some mischief. But the doggy in the following video, for example, solved the problem in a rather unusual way. She saw 2 children playing with each other and an adult standing behind the camera and filming them. No one wanted to play with the doggy, so the doggy himself built into the process. It carefully approached the camera and appeared in the most amusing angle. The dog greatly amused both its owner and the children that continued playing with the ball. What do you know about the word melomane? Probably it can refer to people and only those who love music a lot. There's nothing wrong with the second part of the statement, but I would argue with the first one. The snake in this video heard an extremely entertaining beat playing nearby. It paused and, unable to control what it was feeling, started dancing. Something like you've never seen a dancing snake before. It looks crazy. If I were the author of the video, I'd take the crawling snake along. Let it enjoy the track from the front row and dance to its heart's content. Many people who want to have pets are very hesitant to do so for one reason: the moving factor. It can indeed be very difficult and inconvenient to travel with dogs or cats. Many houses or flats do not accept pets. You constantly need to keep an eye on the cage. Think about the fact that the animal doesn't feel bad during a long trip. In general, there's a whole truckload of worries. But this does not bother the man in the following video. He doesn't give a damn about the problems of others. He took his favorite doggy, bought a strong and reliable belt for it, tied it to his strong chest, got on his motorbike and drove off. And the doggy, interestingly enough, doesn't mind at all. A snack in the fresh air is always a good thing. The only thing is, if there are squirrels around, I would prefer to eat in an enclosed place, or better still, at home. Because things happen to these animals. Like this video, for example. The squirrel noticed an appetizing and delicious-smelling cake with a man ready to taste it. Sapiens had time to arm himself with a spoon to eat the dessert, and it did not bode well in the case of the squirrel. For this reason, the animal began to act decisively. The squirrel waited for the right moment and immediately jumped on the man. The battle for a piece of cake began with an outcome that we don't know. Who do you think came out the winner? When a person works on a computer, especially at home, it's great. You can plan your days as you want, see your loved ones more often, and be in constant contact with your pets if you have any. And, as practice shows, the pets themselves are also very happy for this arrangement. This cat, for example, is only happy when its favorite mistress sits at the computer, eats pizza in parallel, and sees nothing because of the high monitor. And it's behind him that the cunning four-legged fluffy creature hid. The pet hid himself, waited for the right moment, and began to carefully, methodically, step by step, take out a piece of flavorful pizza. No, what did you think? Cats like it too. It's great that the owner did not interfere and shared it with her pet. The jaguar is a dangerous and predatory animal, they said. It kills with a look, never relaxes, and has a plan ahead. Yep. Tell that to the man in the following video who met the cutest jaguar like this. The animal was sprawled out on the sun-warmed ground and pampered with great pleasure. Yes, even four-legged animals have a moment in life when they just don't want to do anything. Now, before the next video, I just want to say this. I've never seen such a funny dog before. A pet has seen his beloved master come home. Not as he normally does, but on one leg. The other, alas, was in plaster, and it was forbidden to step on it. Many four-legged friends at this very moment would have run up to the man and begun to hug him, kiss him, try to heal this wound, both mental and physical. But our hero of the video did otherwise. Out of the blue, the dog began to parody the two-legged man, and he did it very convincingly. In my opinion, it's time to send this dog to acting classes so that he would learn to play the role. And the alligator from the next video is the one who, as it seems to me, has already got into a role that's not his own. We all know that crocodiles and alligators are not human friends. They are insanely dangerous and always hungry. They can attack and swallow even an adult man for just 2 or 3 dexterous bites. Naturally, there is little good in this. Someone, absolutely crazy, still continues to take care of these animals and make them something like a pet. As we can see, the man in these shots is doing great, but I wouldn't relax for a moment if I were him. There's no telling what this animal might be up to. There's a reason it's considered wild and dangerous to humans. Would you dare to pet this alligator, pretending to be a dog and getting high from playing with its owner? Bipolar is a fairly common thing that seems familiar to many people these days. At first, a person is behaving one way, having fun and enjoying life. And then bam! And like at the snap of a finger, they turn into someone completely different. I used to think that this disorder is peculiar only to humans. However, the following video shows it's not the fact that it's only us. A small and cute kitty sat in front of its owner and affectionately, gently touched her with its paw. By this action, the pet hinted that he would like to be caressed. The responsive girl could not help but respond to this and began to snuggle the Fluffy. Except that a minute later, the cat got angry from these actions. Yes, the cat was not just angry, it bit its bipedal girlfriend. How can anyone tell me how to play with it after that? Speaking of playing, the doggy in the following video clearly needs a companion for its daytime activities. Without a friend, the dog has so little to do that it eats and scatters all the paper in sight. The result of such a prank is now before you. It's funny how the doggy tries to hide and pretend that it's in the house and has nothing to do. If the pet had been 3 times smaller, maybe it would have worked. But as it is, everyone understood everything, of course. And what happened in the following video would be impossible to believe without video proof. People were looking forward to the summer season so they could finally come to their summer cottage, make a fire, roast skewered meat, and everything like that. But when they arrived and looked at the grill, they were speechless that day. In some mystical way, they had a nest of very young chicks in the grill. Of course, there was no question of moving these helpless and touching little ones. So until the young birds grow up and leave the nest, grill owners will have to find other ways to cook food. The following video was captured by a surveillance camera outside a private home in England. A man was standing by his precious car, engrossed in the process, and trying to finally figure out what strange sound he was hearing when he started the engine. But there was someone who did not like this pastime, and that someone is a lovely cat that runs around. As it seems to me, she badly lacked attention. So the man would finally play with her, the kitty went to desperate measures. She went around the hood, studied its structure, and having analyzed the situation, came to the right conclusion. The cat pressed on the top, and this is what happened. What to do if a mini scuffle starts between animals? Right, it's enough to intervene in it and, on the right of the senior, to separate the brawlers. Well, or just ask them to leave. The man in the following video resorted to the second method, especially since he had a camera set up right in front of the raccoons who were about to fight, with the option of a built-in microphone and speakers. The owner of the house switched on the camera and jokingly tried to scare the animals. As you can see, this embarrassed them a lot. These two clearly did not expect such a turn of events. In the comments under the video, the girl has added that these raccoons often visit her and have already become her family. In general, they're kind, but they occasionally get naughty and need a strict and correct hand. I think many people know the feeling when we go on holiday to the beach. We're about to go for a swim, and we think about where to leave our bag with keys. No matter how safe the place may seem, worries make their presence felt. What if it gets stolen? So to make those mixed feelings disappear once and for all, get yourself a mini protector like this. Judging by this video, the dog will never let any stranger near the object it's guarding. The owner can rest and be sure that the keys are safe. The life of cats at home and in the wild are two completely different scenarios that overlap, except for one single moment. In both the first and the second cases, cats are often molested by someone and they don't want it. At home, a pet may snap and hide on a cupboard. Well, in the wild, when a deer approaches a cat, it'll do exactly the same thing. But instead of the cupboard, it will simply choose to get away from the eyes of the offender. I wonder what the deer wanted. Maybe he just wanted to meet and find a mate. What do you think? Preparation for the summer is an obligatory ritual for most people on our planet. Everyone wants to look their best in this hot and at the same time beautiful season. Cats are no exception. The owner got up on his new treadmill. No sooner had he taken a step than the cat joined him. Apparently, the pet also felt some heaviness in its body and decided to get rid of extra pounds. What surprised me most of all was that the cat was not going to stop for a moment. The only thing it got off the track was after it stopped. I guess the owner felt sorry for the fluffy cat and decided to give it a rest. This cat's determination and willpower are worth learning from. The game of golf, for most people, seems to be the safest, in some places boring, and even uninteresting. But trust me, what you're about to see will automatically change all three of those points. The game was coming to an end with only one stroke left to play. However, the swan standing nearby was of a different opinion. Apparently, it was rooting for the second player, and when the first player in the video scored, the swan got very angry and started attacking him. Of course, everything immediately took different colors. People cheered up and thought a few times about their own safety. So, is anyone else going to call golf a boring sport? What do you expect to see through the peephole of your door when you hear strange sounds outside? It can be young people who can't sleep, some wild animal that's wandered into the wrong neighborhood, or it can be abnormal weather conditions. In general, anything will do, but not a giant herd of cows that inexplicably wandered into the territory of houses. It happened in the state of Georgia in 2022. A woman named Alicia looked out the door and was immediately speechless. She had a whole herd of cows roaming her porch and yard. As the woman herself commented later, she initially thought that she had not woken up yet, but after she pinched herself a few times, the doubts dissipated and were replaced by confusion. The woman later learned that the animals had somehow managed to escape from a nearby dairy farm. Well, one can only wonder what kind of visitors we might have under the cover of night. Domestic cats are the kind of animals you always need to keep an eye on. At any moment, they can do something on emotion without thinking about the consequences and then immediately regret it. The cat from this video, for example, wanted to go for a walk and did not wait for his mistress. As soon as she opened the door to pick up the parcel, the chancer ran out the door and stayed there. The woman did not notice that her pet went out of the threshold. The cat sat in the yard for a couple of minutes and still realized wild conditions are not for it, but there was no way to come back. For better or worse, there was no hole in the house. According to the owner, the pet stayed outside the door for a few more minutes. As soon as the girl realized it, she immediately ran to him, opened the door, and it happily went back in. I think this served as a great lesson for the fluffy creature, and it won't rogue again. Have you ever seen a rat fight? That's right, I didn't think it was real either. However, one person still managed to capture this miracle phenomenon on camera, and here's what came out of it. Celebrate your favorite fighter and follow his performance. I hope you enjoyed that rat fight. I suggest you switch your vibe to a more relaxed one and take a look at the Atlantic puffin. If anything, it's the name of a cute little bird that lives in the sea and eats by diving underwater and pulling out all sorts of goodies. But come on, who will even care about that when this handsome bird is in front of them? You must admit, this bird looks magical. Also smooth, tender, very compact, and as if radiating goodness. The biggest primates or the king of beasts? One of the main predators of the world ocean or bloodthirsty cetaceans? Crocodile or an alligator? Whom would you like to put on a stake? In this episode, you'll see the most dangerous animals and learn which of them is strongest. African lion versus gorilla. The lion is the king of the jungle. The well-known fact is beyond doubt because, indeed, these animals have amazing physical abilities, combined with a fantastic ability to communicate with their relatives. In addition, they weigh a lot, about 375 pounds, and their body's dense, protected from accidental cuts. At the same time, it's very convenient for lions to disguise themselves in an open area due to their color. But don't think that lions are too used to living in the shade. It's quite the opposite. They need camouflage only to attack the most alert creatures. As for the rest, they're not used to hiding. Their pride is out in the open, close to the waterhole, as the lions don't care at all about anyone who or what might spot them. They're confident that together, as a whole pride, they can deal with anyone they want. However, if I were the kings of the jungle, I wouldn't be so confident. It's good to have this quality, of course, but they should not be too confident. There are other creatures in nature that are just as powerful. One such creature is the eastern lowland gorilla. This monster, dare I say, lives in the east, in the area of the Republic of Congo, and prefers places where everything is planted with grass. Despite its vegan preferences, the male weighs up to 485 pounds and a height of 6.5 feet. These gorillas have a very broad chest as well as a large head. In general, they have a power that few creatures can handle. Like lions, gorillas don't walk alone. Their groups consist of males, females, young gorillas, and babies, just like real human families. For most of the day, the eastern lowland gorilla searches for food. It walks around the territory on 4 limbs and gets grass. The ape's advantages lie in its powerful body, capable of lifting 10 times its own weight, and its greatly developed gross motor skills that help them climb trees, run fast, and cling tenaciously. The lion and the gorilla are both great fighters. However, the gorilla has an advantage. It's much smarter, it's agile, and it's able to use objects at hand. So in a fight with a lion, it would defeat it without any problems, especially if the fight would take place on its territory, where the lion would not be able to show its strength fully. Great white shark and orca. If you think that the most important and dangerous predators in the entire ocean are great white sharks, you're wrong. Orcas are considered to be such. These mammals are endowed with high intelligence and strategic abilities that ensure their victories. But unfortunately, or fortunately, things are not always so simple in nature. Great white sharks are not that simple either. They can sense the Earth's electromagnetic field and assess impending danger. Biologically, the shark's brain is much more complex than that of the orca, though smaller. They also have a much more stable nervous system. The great white predators are also very fast learners. If they once make a mistake, from now on they'll not repeat it and remember it for life. Despite this, great white sharks continue to encounter orcas in the wild, which shows their confidence in their abilities. These encounters are not on purpose. These creatures just share a similar diet and often have small scuffles over prey. By scuffles, I do not mean a fight, because in such a clash, the great white shark will not stand a chance. Its opponent is much larger. Not for nothing, it belongs to cetaceans. Also, orcas are able to turn sharks over, after which they become a very easy prey for them. Thus, no matter how strong the great white shark is, no matter how powerful a bite, it doesn't want to offer its enemies. The orca's bite is more painful and powerful. The shark has no chance in a one-on-one battle. That's about it. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel.